Alright you guys, John's Moto Garage. As always, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a quick, sweet, and short video, but the dude who bought the Raider was kind enough to come back out here, show us the upgrades. We did a walk around of the Raider, and everybody asks for a Raider versus Stryker comparison, or more of a side-by-side on the two motorcycles, and I understand why, because the two bikes are definitely similar. Obviously the Raider came first, the Stryker is like the little bro to the Raider, but a lot of people looking for this style motorcycle have to ask themselves which one is the better bike for me, Raider or Stryker. So I'm just going to briefly go over just the basics of the two motorcycles and why you might choose one or over the other. Stay tuned to the end. If you don't know already, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, I'll reveal which one is my personal preference, but I think at this point it's pretty obvious. Alright, so let's start out with the Yamaha Raider. I think they had these between 2008 through 2017 if I'm not mistaken. 1900cc, air-cooled, belt drive, 5-speed, and they're just a complete monster. It's 113 cubic inch. So think about that. Back in 2008, they were producing a 113 cubic inch V-twin, where at the time, a lot of Harleys were still 96 inch. You could get some comparable metric cruisers like the M109R, but all in all, this was one of the largest production bikes available. And along with that, you just get that chopper style, real classic styling. It was hard to get a manufactured chopper prior to this thing coming out. Honda shortly after came out with the Honda Fury, but that's only a 1300. So really this is a one-of-a-kind bike. There are not a lot of cruisers that you can buy from the factory that look anything like this, let alone with a 1900cc engine to boot. So definitely with good reason that the Raider is such a popular motorcycle. Now, one of the things with the Raider is it's a 1900cc, so any new rider who doesn't have a lot of experience, or even somebody just transitioning from, say, a sport bike to a cruiser, is maybe somewhat reluctant to jump on a bike of such a caliber, because it is a really big bike and has a big engine. So my thoughts on it: definitely not a good beginner bike. I think that's the general consensus. But for those who have some experience, it is actually surprisingly easy to ride. It's very smooth, it's comfortable. It's not going to be like a long haul bike per se, although people can definitely pull it off just because it's such a big engine. But I think where it really hits the mark is it's super smooth, it's super comfortable, and you've got just the torque and the power and all that to go with it. So it's a super well-rounded bike. I just took the M109R out and we dueled it out against the Raider, and while the Raider on the straightaway didn't quite keep up, it's just way more well-rounded. After jumping back on the Raider, I was reminded as to why it's just one of my all-time favorite cruisers. Again, this is my personal preference. Go ride the two yourself and then you can kind of decide. Alright, so that's the Yamaha Raider for you. Now, the Yamaha Stryker, I believe, came out in 2011 if I'm not mistaken. 1300cc. This one's liquid cooled, also belt drive, 5-speed, and as you can see, it still has that chopper style, raked out front end, custom looking motorcycle. So like I said, it's with good reason that people compare the two motorcycles. I get it, I totally understand. I think where the Stryker has the edge over the Raider is because being a smaller displacement engine, it's more appealing to your general rider. New riders can look at a Stryker and convince themselves to buy it a lot easier than they would with the Raider. And while I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best beginner bike, you're better off starting with like a 600, 750, something like that, depending on your height and size. It is one that plenty of beginners have been able to successfully pull off, I think, in a much safer manner on the Stryker. Now, overall, riding the two side by side, you're going to notice the difference, no doubt about it. The Stryker obviously is going to be a little less powerful, but don't get me wrong, it has plenty of punch to it. Check out the video I did a ride and review on the Stryker, and it gets up and goes. It's got a good power to weight ratio. And there is something fun about just how lightweight it is. And with both bikes, you get that custom look to it. People who don't know any better look at these and think it's a Harley or a custom one-off build, because they do a good job there. Some things I like about the Yamahas in general: metrics are notorious for using a lot of plastic. Yamaha does a good job. You hear that? These are metal tins. Over here you got M109R. This thing is basically built of plastic aside from the gas tank. So that's one thing you get that's nice with the Yamahas in general. It just feels a little bit more solid in my opinion. You do have some plastic on the engine, but overall These they cheaped out. The Raider, this is all built or this is all metal. The gearbox in the Raider is much smoother. The Stryker is a little bit clunky and just not as fine-tuned in my opinion. But all in all, both very nice bikes. I'd say Stryker, if you're newer into riding, a little, you know, not as daring, go for the Stryker. You're gonna get the good, cool looking style, and you're not gonna be as scared every time you throw a leg over the bike. But if you're just basically balls to the wall, ready to get out there and have the gnarliest bike on the road, or one of the baddest bikes that not only has the performance but also has the style behind it, I don't think you're gonna find much better than the Yamaha Raider. You will be hard pressed, in my opinion. And they have a big following for that reason. So there you guys have it. If it's not clear at this point, for me personally, I would definitely opt for the Yamaha Raider. I'm still kicking myself for getting rid of this one, but thanks to the new owner, he was willing to come out here and let us take a look, let me take a ride again, and just remind me of the mistake that I made. But man, that thing is a beauty. All right, you guys, real quick, let's start the two up. That's one thing I forgot to do. So you can hear the Stryker all alone. I apologize, the audio on this is horrible. The Stryker exhaust, the 2-in-1, it rattles a little bit, even the stock exhaust, but this one's got a Cobra slip-on. Let's check out the Raider. So you can just hear it even in the exhaust. The Raider just has that deeper, roadier, more, I don't even know what the word is for it. It's just a deeper sound to it. Alright you guys, John's Moto Garage. As always, if you dig the content, like and subscribe. Stay tuned and check out the other videos of the Raider and the Stryker. And hit me up if you have any questions. We'll hit you up on the next one. Adios.